If you like $9 Mondays, you will love our Rest of 2022 special currently running at both WagerTalk and Sports Memo. Bet right alongside the handicapper of your choice through the rest of the calendar year for less than $7 per day as we head down the stretch of 2022 with 14 weeks of NFL and college football, MLB through the World Series, over 11 weeks of NHL, over 10 weeks of NBA, and over 7 weeks of college basketball. Plus any soccer, golf, MMA, or other sports your go-to handicapper releases. Lock in the 3 biggest months of betting action for only $7 per day through Sunday, October 2nd, 2022.
Welcome, everybody, to Wager Talk Today. I'm in the hat, golfing in an hour. I'm Lawrence Presman. He's Teddy Covers. You're watching the best daily sports betting show on the planet, and we got so much to talk about. Let me set the show up, and then I'll hand the mic to Teddy, and he can lambaste me for my amazing 5-minute Twitter video from last night. Okay, Adam Trigger joining us at the top of the show. He's going to look at the Bengals and the Dolphins game, and this game goes tonight. I'm excited about it. He's also going to look at the Arkansas-Alabama game. I'm impressed, Teddy, right off the bat that Adam came on here and chose 2 games that people wanted to hear. So kudos to Adam. Steve Merril, he's coming on. He's going to look at the Rays and the Guardians, a game that everyone wants to hear about, and the Patriots and the Packers. And then, of course, we're going to have Carmine Bianco, Mr. 15-0 himself at the Circa. And he's going to talk about the LA Chargers and the Houston Texans, as well as Arsenal and Tottenham. Teddy, I know before I get to you guys, you got to sign up for our TikTok account. It's Wager Talk. It's on TikTok. It is freaking awesome. Theodore, how are you, my brother?
I'm doing okay. I've had better mornings, to be honest. But we got to talk about what happened last night and what bettors learned. Because 2 things happened last night that are worthy of note. First, of course, Prez, you talked about how you were at the game where Aaron Judge hit his 61st home run. And you were there kind of by accident. As you mentioned in your live stream, you didn't care about the fact that Judge was about to hit his 61st homer one bit. Even the live stream was cynical, no magic in baseball. And 61 is a freaking sacred number for baseball fans, dude. It just is. And you happen to be there. You've got a charmed life, Prez. For as much as you complain, you being at the game last night with Carm, with tickets you didn't even buy or plan on being there for Judge's 61st. Yeah, you got a charmed life, buddy. Well, meanwhile, I lost last night in MLB. And I've been winning consistently across sports since February, dude. College hoops down the stretch, the NBA the whole second half, the football's been really good, and MLB's had its moments. Had a good stretch in May into June, a really good stretch for the All-Star break, a really good stretch in August. My September MLB, Prez, stinks. And it's my own fault. I'm one guy, and I haven't put the same time in. I feel like, every year I want to do it. I'm like a dog looking at a juicy bone. I'm like, I know there's meat to be picked off of that, but it's really hard for me, at least, to put the time in September. I'm not convinced I'll be doing September MLB a year from now. I've got to learn from my lessons. Prez, you enjoy the game last night? Your live stream for the 61st home run. Your timing was impeccable. The live stream itself, Carm was interesting. Your play-by-play left a little something to be desired.
Yeah, so we got lots to talk about in regards to that live stream. And we will when Carm comes on later on in the show. But, man, if you guys want to laugh, check out Kelly's retweet of the live stream. She had about 100 comments, and it was all based on how bad the video footage of that live stream was. The comments are hilarious. And, guys, I can take it, man. I'm one of those people that you can make fun of, and I love it. So I loved all those comments, but I do want to say for the record, Teddy, we were in Rogers Stadium. Now, for non-Canadians, Rogers is our AT&T. They own the Wi-Fi in Canada.
Okay.
There's no Wi-Fi in Rogers Center. Like, I streamed that off of an iPhone 11, dude. Like,
get a new one.
But man, dude, it was the Wi-Fi in there. But I got to tell you something, Teddy, looking back, reading all the comments, I feel that the terrible video quality enhanced the experience because
the terrible video quality and the completely boring, inane commentary. Yeah.
Yes.
I thought it was. This is what was good about that video. In the background, 5 minutes in, you get to see Judge hit the home run.
Barely. You don't even see the ball. The screen, the video footage is so bad. Yeah. But Teddy, man, the whole thing happened like out of the blue. Let's live stream. Okay, let's go. Like, guys, I got to tell you all before we get into this. Teddy sends me an actual television broadcast of
John Sterling,
professional announcer, commenting on the home run, and he's like, "Now that's how you do it, Prez." Really? Thank you, Teddy. Why don't you take me to a professional, a Michelin star restaurant and tell me, and that's how you cook, Prez? Adam Trigger, come on in, brother. Adam, you're doing a lot of TikToks. They are fun. Guys, in all seriousness, you got to join our TikTok channel. I mean, Andy Lang, Adam Trigger, me, Teddy, sitting as the #1 most watched TikTok. My man, the old guy in the middle. Adam, my daughter calls me last night. She's like, Dad, the guy in the glasses broke your record. Anyway, welcome to the show, Adam.
How's it going, guys? Yeah, I'm new to the TikTok thing, but follow me. I'm at Trig WagerTalk, and I basically just been throwing up an underdog angle of the day that like just misses my card. It's not a client play. I'm not posting it anywhere else. It's always going to be plus money, and I think we've done 6 of them so far, and they're 4-2. And so if we go 50%, they're going to be profitable because every single one, that's my rule. It's got to be plus money, and it's something that just missed my card. The only place you're going to get it is on TikTok. So follow me and obviously follow the Wager Talk one. Yeah, it's fun. I need to hire like a 15-year-old to do, like that wants to make a few dollars to like run my thing and show me actually how to use this thing. But yeah, it's been fun so far.
Yeah, Teddy, I hired a 21-year-old, my daughter, but I did put up a bunch of tips last night. Let's get into this, man. We got Miami tonight going into Cincinnati. And look, this Miami team gets through tonight with a W. Their schedule over the next 7-8 games is cake. This is, there could be a lot of drama with this Miami team moving forward. There's obviously money coming in on them over the last little while. It was -4 last night. It's -3.5 now. The total's been bet up slightly to 48.5. Adam, how do we handicap this game?
Well, Prez, I love this Dolphins team. I've been on them back-to-back weeks. I went on Teddy's SiriusXM show at the beginning of the season talking about how much I love this Dolphins team. But I'm on the Bengals here, and I actually just added this. I found 3s earlier at like -120, -125. I took -3, -125 at Caesars, and I gave it out to clients. So that's a 4% play for you guys. Bengals, I strongly suggest shopping around to get the 3 because I really do think that is the most key number in football right now. So I really want the 3. But if you can't, I would still lay the 3.5. I think it's an incredible spot for the Bengals. A lot was made about Tua's concussion. He's going to play. But really, he's been dealing with a couple injuries, ankle injury, back injury. And now he's got to travel on a short week and play a Bengals team that I think might be a little bit undervalued here. Something that was apparent, I guess, is more publicly known than I thought it was, or at least people are acknowledging it, is the Dolphins spent their defense spent a ton of time on the field against the Bills last week. 90 snaps in what was close to 100-degree heat. And now they travel and have to plan a short week. But the Bengals, I like this matchup for the Bengals because the Dolphins, as good as they've been, they have issues running the ball and getting pressure on the opposing quarterback. And I think the second one is really what's gonna play here, because I think Joe Burrow is going to have all day, and he's going to pick this defense apart, which has been banged up since the beginning of the season and is still a little banged up in addition to potentially being tired from the weekend. So I laid the 3, guys. I'm fine with laying minus 120 or minus 125 to get the 3, and that is a 4% play for me tonight on the Bengals.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not seeing any 3s out there on the WagerTalk Live on screen, unfortunately. That line has come and gone. It was bet up to 4, and it's come back down to 3.5. That was a legitimate professional move, taking out the 4s.
Teddy, I want to just throw something in real quick in regards to the line. If you can't get like a minus 130 or less 3, whether you have to, move the line or do what you have to do, I almost think you either have to lay the 3.5 or you have to consider like a minus 180 money line. Don't pay like minus 140 or minus 150 for 3. Yeah, it's just not the right move.
Adam, on that note, and Teddy and I have discussed this a lot, minus 130 is too high too mathematically. It's okay. Ultimately, the craziest thing, Adam, is mathematically, historically, if you will, minus 120 is too much. It's worth about 8 cents. So if you're going to go all the way up to buying a point and paying 20 cents for something that's worth 8, just send me the 20 cents and I will send you the 8 cents back and make 12 cents on that.
Yeah, and I want to be clear too. It's still 4% at 3.5. So if you couldn't get the 3 minus 120 earlier, I'd still play it minus 3.5 for 4%.
Yeah, I agree. Teddy, you were about to say something, brother?
Yeah, I want to ask about the total, Adam. You talked about how Miami's defense was on the field for 90 plays last week, and we're not expecting a stellar defensive showing from the Dolphins tonight. On the other side of the equation, Buffalo held the ball for 40 minutes last week because Miami's just bing, bang, boom down the field making big plays. Would you look at the over tonight if you were going to get involved with the total, or Thursday night offensive game plan, sometimes limited? You don't want an over on Thursday Night Football. I'll talk about the total for just a minute if you have any leads.
Teddy, I would definitely look at the over here. Part of my analysis in terms of liking the Bengals is I think Burrow is going to have a lot of time to throw, but I also think the Dolphins could find themselves behind here at some point. And look at how their game plan went completely out the window against the Ravens when they got behind. And it was just like throw the ball, like take shots. And if they are behind, they very well could do that here. But even if they aren't, like the Dolphins offense is going to move the ball here. I mean, the Bengals may be able to get to Tua a little bit. I still have question marks about the Dolphins' ability to run it because they haven't really done that at all so far this season. But I still think they're going to be productive. But I really like the Bengals' offense and how they match up against the Dolphins' defense. It's a big part of the reason I'm on the Bengals minus 3. And so, yeah, I would lean toward the over if I was going to bet the total.
Adam Trigger joining us, everyone. Before we get into the Arkansas-Alabama game, anything to promote for our clients, our listeners, our watchers, our viewers, our family?
Yeah, I mean, I have a 5% college football play up for the weekend. Had my first one of the year last week, UTEP plus 16, and they won outright by a bunch. So that highlighted a great college football weekend for me. So 5% play up in college football right now. I just gave you the only NFL play I've released so far for the weekend. Bengals minus 3. I had a 3-1 NFL weekend as well. And I believe our all access special is still up until Sunday. I think you can get that for any handicapper, though. I know it's on my page. I'm pretty sure it's on everybody's. And that's a great deal. So whether it's me or one of the other guys, you should definitely be taking advantage of that.
Adam Trigger, let's go. Arkansas, Alabama. I'm in play on that game myself. I have a client bet up now. How should we bet this game?
Well, I'm going to start something. This is a Teddy covers term right here, because I was on Texas A&M last week on the money line. It was like minus 125. And I feel like I have a wrong side winner right there, which I know is something Teddy will say sometimes. Right side loser, wrong side winner, right side winner. Guys, I think I was on the wrong side there. I got a little fortunate because if you go back to The second quarter of that game, it was 14-0, and A&M managed to turn a first and goal at the 1 or a play at the 1 into a 99-yard touchdown the other way, which really, I mean, if they go down 21-0 right there, they're probably done. And then you have Arkansas missing a 42-yard field goal that probably would have finished them off as well. So I got a little bit fortunate with A&M last week, and what I saw out of Arkansas was the better team there. And Prez, I think a 3-score win from Alabama here might be the ceiling for them. I'm not saying it won't happen or it can't happen, but I think this is too many points to give Arkansas at home. Start with this, I always hear like Bama, they're great as a favorite, they cover spreads, and that might be true, but it typically happens at home. The last 5 times, over the last 2 seasons, they've been 2 touchdown or more favorites 5 times. They're 1-4 against the spread in those games. I love KJ Jefferson. I think he's a dynamic player. He cut up this Alabama defense last year. And you look at Alabama, their one real test in terms of the defensive secondary against a good quarterback, their one real test was Texas against Quinn Ewers. And I don't know that they really passed that test, guys. And I wonder if that was a little bit of foreshadowing for what can happen here. So I don't know if I'm willing to come out and say, you know what, take that plus 600 money line, but I certainly like the points, and I fully expect Arkansas to hang around in this game. I haven't made this a client play yet, but it's close, and if I do, I'll tweet it out. I like the Razorbacks, and if it goes back to 17.5, I might jump in for a client play.
So I know that it's 2022, and it's a different year, but the series history is pretty darn one-sided. Alabama 41-9, Alabama 65-31, Alabama 48-7, Alabama 52-3, and then last year Arkansas was able to move the football. They were still outgained by 200 yards. Alabama 42, Arkansas 35. So it's been pretty one-sided. Alabama 4 blowouts the last 5 meetings, and the only reason last year's wasn't a blowout was because Bama turned the ball over a couple times, and again they didn't. They still won the yardage battle by hundreds against Arkansas. Do you worry at all the class difference between these two teams is very real? Do you worry at all that the previous meetings are an indicator of what could happen on Saturday, or the Razorbacks a clear choice for you? I'm looking Arkansas too, but I haven't pulled the trigger yet. I'm not convinced I'm gonna.
Yeah, well, Teddy, I'm right there. It's definitely on my I guess you would call it my long list for the weekend. Like I said, I'd really like to get that 17.5, but I really do like Arkansas in this matchup because I think they do enough things really good that make me believe they can stay in this game. They have a nice pass rush. They should be able to get to Young a little bit and force him to make plays. And I talked about Jefferson. He's a dynamic player. I think he can test Alabama's secondary. And then, you have Alabama. I don't know if this is the best spot for them. They have A&M at home next week. They have Tennessee the week after. So I'm not saying they're going to look ahead, but it's like they've got quite the kind of the gauntlet coming up as well. In the end, I just think 17.5 is too many. And I've had really good luck with these 2 touchdown, right around that area underdogs this year. I've been cashing them pretty much every week. I think I came on here and talked about Kansas State last week. They won outright. So these 14 to 17 point dogs have been good to me, Teddy. I think Arkansas is going to hang around. I like them to cover this number.
Adam Trigger, outstanding work. We love having you on, brother. And now we have to get rid of you. Goodbye, Adam Trigger. Teddy covers. We got a jam-packed show still. Steve Merril coming on. Carmine Bianco, your big game breakdown. The daily presidential address. We're taking a quick break, everyone. Stay with us.
If you like $9 Mondays, you will love our Rest of 2022 special currently running at both WagerTalk and Sports Memo. Bet right alongside the handicapper of your choice through the rest of the calendar year for less than $7 per day as we head down the stretch of 2022 with 14 weeks of NFL and college football, MLB through the World Series, over 11 weeks of NHL, over 10 weeks of NBA, and over 7 weeks of college basketball. Plus any soccer, golf, MMA, or other sports your go-to handicapper releases. Lock in the 3 biggest months of betting action for only $7 per day through Sunday, October 2nd, 2022.
is time for today's big game breakdown. Let's talk Saturday night ESPN college football, Auburn and LSU, an SEC showdown. Auburn Tigers 0-4 against the spread, but 3-1 straight up, stole one last week. And 3 of the 4 losses has come as favorites. Now, they're big dogs. Look at the WagerTalk Live odds screen. We have seen some Auburn money over the course of the last couple of hours, really overnight. We saw Auburn money was LSU -9 last night. I'm seeing 8s as a prevailing number on the screen today. So LSU still laying more than a TD on the road. Total sitting at 46. But this is an Auburn team that's failed 3 times as a favorite. And now they're 8-point dogs. That said, the one time they were a dog before, they had a pretty bad national TV loss to Penn State. So you have to ask yourself, team's 3-1, but they're 0-4 ATS. Is the sky falling for Auburn or isn't it? Well, last time here, they beat LSU 48-11 as 1.5-point dogs. That was 2020. Last year, they won at LSU 24-19. That's a big part of the reason why Brian Kelly's in Baton Rouge right now. But before we start giving Auburn a whole lot of credit, remember, they had a 9% win expectancy late versus Missouri last week. Their season got saved because the Tigers fumbled at the goal line in overtime. Auburn had multiple chances to win that game in the fourth quarter and overtime, and basically they lost it. Missouri just lost it more. So I'm not convinced that an 0-4 ATS team is priced correctly in the betting markets yet. They haven't gotten Auburn right yet. LSU's defense has been there in every game. The loss to Florida State in the opener on the missed extra point doesn't look so bad now. They're 3-0 straight up in ATS since. Auburn taxed last week physically and mentally in that game against Missouri. LSU, no sweat against New Mexico. From a value standpoint, there's not a ton of value on the LSU side. I get it. But it doesn't matter. All summer, all we heard was bad Harsin stories, bad vibes out of Auburn. They're 0-4 ATS, and that team is unbackable for this better until they cover a number. And LSU looks pretty good. If I'm playing, I'm laying LSU minus. There's your big game breakdown. Back to you, Mr. Prez.
Teddy covers. Let's bring Steve Merril straight into this. We got a jam-packed show. We got to get moving. Steve, how are you, my friend? What's going on?
Hey, Prez, doing well. How you doing, my man?
No complaints. Appreciated you covering for me. I'm going to need a couple of days next week. Just one day, Friday. I have another business meeting downtown. Can't get out of it. Can't get out of it, man. That's what happens when you're not just a handicapper. Anyway, dude, let's get straight into this. Rays playing the Guardians tonight. I'm in play on that game as well for my clients. It's up. Everyone can go over to WagerTalk and grab it. I'm curious how you're going to bet this one.
Yeah, you never like to use, natural disasters as a handicapping factor, but it is what it is. I mean, and you got to wonder if Tampa is fully focused here on the road in Cleveland, worrying about family and friends back in Tampa that just got hit by a hurricane. Now, Tampa didn't get hit quite as hard as they thought. They thought it was going to go directly over. They went a little south, but it's still pretty bad there. Our friend Tony Mejia is doing okay in Orlando. He's got a lakefront property now. He sent us a picture of literally stuff floating in front of his house. So it's pretty crazy. And I do think this is not a great spot for Tampa. And then, of course, you got to handicap the game as you would normally. And even though Tampa is coming off a 6-5 win at Cleveland last night, a little misleading in my opinion. The Rays only had 7 hits in that game. The Guardians had 14 hits. They got out hit 14-7, but somehow managed a 6-5 win. And that offense isn't exactly in good current form. In fact, they've had 7 hits exactly in 3 straight games. They'd lost the 2 previous games at Toronto with exactly 1 run each. So it's been a feast or famine offense for the Rays for several seasons now. They've always kind of lived that way. And I think they're going to struggle a bit tonight. And meanwhile, Cleveland is coming off that loss, the misleading loss, and that snapped what was a 7-game win streak. So I still think Cleveland's in better current form, and we get them basically at an underdog price here around even money. So I like the Guardians at home tonight. That's an early start, by the way. 6:10 Eastern.
So if you look at this stretch for Cleveland, and you can go back to the beginning of September, they played Seattle, Kansas City, Minnesota, the Angels, the White Sox, the Twins, the White Sox, Texas. They've had about as easy a schedule, nary a play, not even a playoff contender all month long. And now obviously stepping up in class against Tampa. And the money's flowing in towards the Rays. Are you surprised by the Tampa money? Are you worried at all that Cleveland not exactly battle tested right now as they step up in class, at least mild?
Yeah, I think part of that, Teddy, more, by the way, I'll be on the baseball show at 1:45 Eastern today. Brian Leonard, Drew Martin, and myself, MLB first. We will be talking more about several of these games tonight. It's somewhat of a small nighttime card. And I think part of the reason, of course, is that, Toronto just a half a game up for the wild card. The Indians, the Guardians, whatever you want to call them, they have clinched the division. They're 11 ahead of Chicago. They've clinched the division already. So I think part of that, Teddy, is that Cleveland is locked into the third seed. They don't really have anything to play for. And in general, that is a concern for me. But I need to see them take their foot off the gas first. And like I said, even though they lost last night, they out-hit them 14-7. And I'm not so sure playing tight like the Rays are is a good thing. And it's shown because they've scored one run exact in 2 of their last 3 games, 7 hits exact in each of their last 3 games. So I think part of the line move, though, is that must-win situation against a team that doesn't have much to play for.
Steve, awesome stuff, dude. Okay, let's get into the next game. What are we talking about? Patriots and Packers. We've had line moves deluxe in this game. It's so funny because I was so mad at myself, man. It came out at -7 and it sat there. It sat there for about an hour, and I was looking at Green Bay. I was like, this is a good bet. And then, bam, gone. Okay, dude, how do we bet this one?
I mean, first we got to talk about Brian Hoyer at quarterback for the Patriots, obviously, and that's why this line has moved.
How big a difference do you think that is, point-wise? Like, how many points would you?
I'll tell you what the odds makers, or not the odds makers, the betting market, I guess is a better way to put it. Because like you said, Prez, this was sitting 7. But to be honest, the look-ahead line before the teams played last week with, Mac Jones expected to be a quarterback in this game against Aaron Rodgers was 6.5. Now it's 9.5. So it's 3.5 points. It's not necessarily, how much weaker Hoyer is. It's the difference between the 2 quarterbacks, of course. And we saw that last week with Herbert, in the Chargers. It went from 7 to 3, then it went back up to 6.5 when he was announced he was going to play. So they felt like the difference between Chase Daniels and Herbert was, roughly at least 4 points, maybe more. I'm not sure the difference between Mac Brown and Hoyer is 3.5 points. They're both mediocre quarterbacks in my book. Now, I believe Hoyer's lost 11 straight games. That is a concern. But once again, we're catching 9.5 points here. So we don't need them to win this game outright. And I'm not necessarily sure they will win the game outright, but I think they cover. I would like to get a 10 here. I believe the win actually has a 10, 9.5s everywhere else. So definitely would not be in a hurry to bet the Patriots here on Thursday. I would keep an eye on this line, but at 10 or more, I think they're worth a look this weekend. And I do think if you shop around, you will find a +10 at some point the next 3 days. Not a good spot for the Packers. And it's just more of a play against Green Bay for me than necessarily a play on New England. First of all, Patriots moved the ball pretty well last week. I don't want to say a misleading, but a little bit of a misleading 37-26 loss at home against Baltimore. And I say that because they had over 440 yards of offense. That wasn't the problem. 4 turnovers was definitely a problem. And they actually held the Ravens to just about 390 yards. They outgained them by about 70 yards. Even giving up 37 here, I still think this is a good defensive team in New England. I know last year they started really strong. They faltered the second half of the season, but I rate them as an upper half defensive team here. And that's another reason I like them, especially if you get 10 or more. I think they qualify as a little bit of a defensive dog. And keep in mind, Green Bay has not scored more than 14 points except once all season. So once again, they got to win by double digits here. And they've scored 14 and 7 in 2 of their 3 games. And those were against decent teams. The only one they did was against a bad Chicago team. I think it's a little bit of a flat spot also for the Packers after that big Tampa Tom Brady win last week. So I'll take a shot with New England. I think we get some line value now because Hoyer's at quarterback.
So would you rather have +9.5 with Hoyer or +7, let's say, with Jones? Because, again, you talk about the look headlines. The look headlines are not exactly what the line is going to be because Green Bay won last week. New England lost last week. Everyone's saying, the markets are saying it's 3.5 points. The markets would have adjusted at least a half point off of last week's loss. It would have been a 7. I think that line would have opened. It might have opened 7.5 with Jones. But let's just say, would you rather have New England +7 with Jones, or let's give the current number because you're saying, I hope I find a 10, +9.5 with Hoyer? Which of those 2 would you rather have?
Yeah, I'd say it's a wash there. I definitely would rather have a +10 with Hoyer versus a +7 with Jones. I'll answer it that way. Because as you know, Teddy, I mean, the difference between 7 and 9.5 is not a true, 2.5 points. It's really not much at all. So I do think I'd rather have Mac Jones, all things equal, but I don't think there's a huge drop off. Now, Hoyer's had some really bad seasons in the NFL, but he's hung around since 2009, obviously. It's his second stint, actually third stint. He's been in and out with New England 3 times, I think. He played 5 games last year, only 11 pass attempts. Did have a 97 quarterback rating, so that's a positive. But yeah, for me, you got to get 10 or more. Let's keep an eye on this line. I don't mind getting 10 with Hoyer. I would have liked 7 with Jones. I think either way, it's not a good spot for Green Bay, like I said. And you brought up a good point. The line would have been a little higher, the look ahead, because Green Bay won. But once again, I'm not so sure I'm reading too much into that win. They didn't move the ball offensively well at all still. And I think either way, however you cut it, we're getting some line value with New England now.
Yeah, and Teddy, that really is an outstanding question. And just for me to add, I liked Green Bay at minus 6.5, 7 with Mac Jones in. I like the under now. So I would prefer Mac Jones in and 7 than Brian Hoyer in at 9.5. And I think it's largely because of Green Bay and the fact that they can't put up a lot of points. And if you can't put up a lot of points and you're going to give me more, I'm going to take them. But I like the under in that game, Steve. Any thoughts on that real quick?
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I mean, obviously, as I said earlier, the Patriots are going to have to win it with defense, in my opinion. I think they're going to try to slow it down, low scoring game. But now the look ahead was 42.5. Now it's 40.5.
Yeah.
And 41 is a very key number, obviously.
Huge.
So that is a critical 2-point move there on the total.
Yeah. Steve Merril, everyone, brother, what do you got to promote?
Yeah, look, NFL has been fantastic. 11-3 on best bets the last 3 weekends, and it's been reflective. It's a team effort. I'm in 3 Westgate entries. Those 3 entries are combined 39-6. My 3 NFL entries in the Westgate, 39-6. Obviously, I've been talking to people. We've been doing a team effort on those, and it's been paying off for my best bets as well. 11-3, 79%. Don't forget about college football, Major League Baseball as well. I'll be back at 1:45 Eastern today and 3 o'clock Eastern for the baseball and college football shows. All sports, 23-11. I bring that up because right now at WagerTalk.com, get the rest of 2022, the next 3+ months, for less than $7 a day. You like $9 Monday, why not make it $7 Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday? You get the deal. Less than $7 a day for the rest of the season. No promo code needed. Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com.
Steve Merril, everyone. Teddy, I don't think there's a better salesman in the company than Steve freaking Merril. I mean, every time he comes on, it's impressive, and he looks so sincere. I would probably buy sand in a desert from him.
Well, the deal he's talking about is an easy deal to sell.
Yeah.
All right. When you talk about get every play every day from the handicapper your choice for the rest of the year for $7 a day, it sells itself. But yes, he's an excellent sales. Way better than you, Prez.
Oh, way better, dude. Absolutely. Carmine Bianco! Dude, we had fun last night. I mean, we literally went to the bowl game, sat in the box seats, and created content. How many beers did you end up consuming?
I only had 3 beers.
Oh, that's why you were normal.
That's why I was normal. Hey, Teddy. Prez showed up late. We got to the game late. But we didn't miss the Judge home run. In the car, he says, history, what history? I'm like, I don't want to miss history. There's no history happening tonight. I don't care about the home run. It looked like he cared on that video. That looked like we were in.
Hey, I told everyone I was going to feign excitement.
In the storm.
Carm, why would I care? Like, in all seriousness, why would I care about New York Yankee history? I'm a Toronto Blue Jay fan, and I don't even like baseball. And Barry Bonds has the record, and Mark McGwire, and everyone's, they were on steroids, blah, 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 blah. Who gives
it's 61, crap? Lawrence.
61 is a sacred number. Yeah, I like 69 better.
Important is not the right word. No. You shush, because you can't talk. Please don't talk over the guests while they're talking or your fellow analysts. Okay?
And it's why there is an actual movie called 61, right? So there's, they didn't make one.
And the fact that you didn't know it or didn't care about it and said in the live stream video that you're broadcasting to the world about it that you don't care, there's better looks for you, Lawrence, than that one. I'll just leave it at that. Carm, let's get into some games.
Let's go.
Let's go, Carmine. Before we get, okay, well, you know what? Let's do the first game and then we'll get into the circa. LA Chargers at the Houston Texans. My brother, I'm struggling in this game. Tell us where we go.
And I understand why a lot of people are struggling on it. And rightfully so. Like if you look at back in June, the Superbook at Westgate released their look ahead lines. This was 8.5 on the Chargers, and obviously, because the Chargers are a very good team, a very good offensive team, and nothing was expected from Houston. Houston's been competitive so far, and then you look at the line on Sunday opened at 7, and all the money has been coming in on Houston. It drove it down to 4.5 before it got back to 5 on our live lines, and that's where it's sitting right now. And again, I get it. Herbert's injured; he's not going to be 100% for a while, but he did play. Didn't want to come out in the last game. He still threw 45 times for almost 300 yards. And look at everything else. You look at Joey Bosa, won't be playing injured. You look at a couple of guys on their offensive line, missing Keenan Allen. And this is why you're going to have to look at those, the Thursday and Friday reports when they come out as far as inactives. But you look at their offensive lineman, Lindsley. He took some snaps. Keenan Allen took some snaps on Wednesday, limited stuff, but still, apparently his knee is getting better. And, I think you're going to see them. But that offensive line still did a great job in spite of the fact that they got blown out in that game against Jacksonville. They only got to Herbert once, a sack and a fumble in that game. And you have to remember, they were passing a lot in that game, being behind. So they took a lot of snaps in that passing formation with him there. I think the fact that Keenan Allen could be back is a big thing for them, because it obviously makes it a lot easier for Mike Williams. He had a bad game. 6 targets, only 1 reception, 15 yards. You look at the game before that, 10 targets, 8 receptions against Kansas City. You had a great game. You need a couple big name guys out there for this team. This is one of those, it's a calculated risk sometimes, but it's the buy low thing on this team. If the report comes out on Friday that these guys are in the lineup, that line is gonna go back up. I have to believe at least to 6. I'm willing to take it at 5 here. You look at this team. I'm not writing them off. I'm not writing the Chargers off. You look at after this game, they play the Browns in Cleveland, but then they've got Denver and Seattle at home before they go to Atlanta. We could be talking in a month's time how the Chargers are 6-2 and vying for that lead. So it is one of those ones where it is a calculated risk, and obviously you're risking your money. But if you assume that these guys are going to be in the lineup when that report comes out on Friday, then you've got to take the 5 now. The 5 is no longer a dead number, as you guys know, because of that moving the whole extra point back 15 yards or what have you. So I don't see 5s as dead numbers.
Yeah.
I'm willing to take the 5 here with this with these guys, and off a straight up loss as a favorite. They are 8-0-1 against the AFC South. So as far as that ATS number off a loss, I'm going to draw a line through that 38-10. It wasn't a pretty game for the Chargers, but this team is still a very good team.
LA Chargers -5. Teddy, question for him.
So how confident are you that all these guys are going to actually play this week? Because, Lindsey hasn't played. J.C. Jackson hasn't played. Keenan Allen has been, hasn't. Obviously, the passing game didn't work without him. You said that the offensive line played great in a game where they got outrushed 151-26. How confident are you that these guys are actually going to play? Because won't the line go the other way if they don't?
The line, I can't see it going to 4. It could go back to 4.5. Right. I can't see it getting any lower than 4. We saw what happened with the line in the Jacksonville game. It went from like +7 down to +3, and all of a sudden Herbert is he's listed as active, and that line went back up. It made no difference at the end of the day. They still blew him out. As far as the rushing, Robinson, that one big TD, 50 yards right there on that one play for them. So obviously, when your defense is out there for so long, and of course, not having Bosa hurts, but Rumpf took a lot of snaps in that game. It's only his second year.
Yeah, Carb, they're
they're
still
still good. And Van Noy helps out as well, too. They picked him up in the offseason. He's going to help with that outside the edge pass rush as well, too. So we'll see. The thing is, Houston, who has Houston played thus far? This is the best passing team they've played. They played the Colts, the Bears, and the Broncos. This is the best offensive team they've faced. So if Keenan Allen is in, that's probably the biggest thing for me on taking the Chargers.
Okay, Carm, we're going to talk soccer in 1 sec. We do not have a lot of time left in this show. I just want to tell everybody my quick take on this game. I like the under a lot in this game. Guys, here's the bottom line. We got an injured Herbert, and the Houston Texans are the single worst team in stopping the run in the league by far. I understand that San Diego, the Chargers don't run the ball. 59 yards average a game. It's pathetic. But, man, if their coach has any brain, they are going to run this ball. Houston only averages 16 points. I like the under. Carm, Tottenham is hosting Arsenal in 1.5 minutes with no follow-up question. How do we bet this game?
Yeah, I'll make this quick and to the point. The two fan bases chirp each other more than I chirp with the Leafs, but this is the Saturday early morning game, 7:30 Eastern time. And listen, this is one of those ones where in the UK, there's a lot of congested schedules. Tottenham's going to have to play not only on Saturday, but then they have a Champions League game on Tuesday. Their best player, Harry Kane, played 180 minutes for England this past week, which is absolutely crazy that they would have, Gareth Southgate would have used them. I don't think he's going to play more than 45 minutes in this game. Arsenal's have won their last 9 Premier League games at home against Tottenham, 10 if you include an EFL Cup game as well, too. They're playing extremely well. They're in first place, only 1 loss to Man United. This team is putting together a winning mentality, and you're going to get them at plus 106 here at home. I think that's the right play on Saturday morning. Arsenal plus 106.
Carm, I love you, bro. We had one of our guests, right? Prez, the dude brought you to a game and you still cut him off today. Guys, we were on a time limit, man. Like, I'm the host of the show. I got to keep this thing moving. Carm's a loquacious guy. What can I tell you? Dude, anything quick to promote?
Yep, 5%
we don't even get
play
to talk
up
about
tonight.
your 15. We don't even get to talk about your circa, dude.
But we did get to hear your opinion about the Chargers total.
Yeah,
Prez,
as you should, Teddy.
What people wanted to hear about, not Carm going 15-0 in a freaking circa contest with hundreds of thousands of dollars on the line this weekend. So well done with managing the time, my friend. Carm, what do you got to promote before we let you go?
Yeah, 5% play up tonight in NFL. And I've got a promo. If you use the code Bianco7 will get you $30 off a 7-day all access. So you'll get 7 days for $69. That's not a bad deal.
Okay, Carm, 15-0 at the circa. What are you going to be doing on Sunday with all that money on the line?
I've narrowed it down to about 7 games. I'm waiting for Friday. I'm waiting for the inactives because some of the games involve some of those teams. So my decision won't be made. I'll wait for those to come out and I'll look at the games with fresh eyes and hope for another winning week. There's a couple of us, two entries at 15-0. So I would love another 5-0 day and take you guys out for dinner.
Okay. Guys, we did not get to 100 likes. No presidential address. Teddy's been bitching about a hard out. Dude, it's 12:45. Guys, I've got both the side and total in NFL up tonight, plus 2 baseball plays. Please don't miss my bets. Theodore, you schmo, take us home.
Absolutely. That's going to wrap it for the Thursday edition of Wager Talk Today. Want to thank Carmine Bianco, Adam Trigger, and Steve Merril for joining us. Want to thank you guys for taking time out of your busy day to spend with us here on Wager Talk Today. We'll do it again tomorrow, same time, same channel, 9 a.m. here on the left coast, noon for you back east. Between now and then, enjoy the games and good luck tonight.
If you like $9 Mondays, you will love our Rest of 2022 special currently running at both WagerTalk and Sports Memo. Bet right alongside the handicapper of your choice through the rest of the calendar year for less than $7 per day as we head down the stretch of 2022 with 14 weeks of NFL and college football, MLB through the World Series, over 11 weeks of NHL, over 10 weeks of NBA, and over 7 weeks of college basketball. Plus any soccer, golf, MMA, or other sports your go-to handicapper releases. Lock in the 3 biggest months of betting action for only $7 per day through Sunday, October 2nd, 2022.